Hi, Mrs. Wills. This is a video teaching you how to create the Clearsight biweekly tests that we learned how to make while you were away, and so I wanted to make sure I had a video for you to go back and reference. So the first thing you're going to do is go to Clearsight, the Clearsight portal. You can use this website up here. Once you're here, you go to Actions, and then we go to Author/Create. So you're going to log in using your information, and once you're in, you're going to click Find Items by Standard. So normally we are finding an item by standard that we've had to reteach. So I know right now we're in the unit on fractions, and for our test this coming week, we were reviewing lesson 32 from module 5. So and I know that lesson standard and that a question that we were looking at was 4C6. So once I type it in, I have to click it here, and then I click Apply, and it's going to take a second to load. All right, and so then I go through and I look at all these questions, and I try to find one that looks similar to the question that either students got wrong before, or a question that has the same kind of information that the question that students will see eventually. So I'm going to click this checkbox right here, and it's going to select all of them, and that will allow me to preview. So I'm going to click Preview here, and then I'm going to flip through and I'm going to find which one looks most similar to the one that I want students to be evaluated on. So I would say this one is the one that I had chosen. So this is number 3. So when I exit out, I'm going to select that third question. It takes a second to load. Okay, so this is the third one. So I'm going to click this one, and then I go up to Label. Now you'll see right now that this one is already labeled because I did this earlier, but I'll show you how to make that label. And this process of making a label will be important for when I go to create the test. So I click Label, and then you will need to create a new label. So I'll click Create New Label, and then I'll type in example for Wills. Okay, cool. Click Save, and then I click that checkbox, and then I click Apply. Okay, so once I've clicked Apply, I will go back to that same page as before. And so say like we're trying to evaluate multiple standards on the same Clearsight test, I would exit out of that standard and I would search for the other one. So let's do for 4M4 because that's what we have to evaluate this week as well. And then I click Apply. And then this is the one I selected as well. So, but it's the same process as what I just showed. So select all, and then you preview through, find which one you like. For the sake of time, I'm just going to click this one, click the label, and we've already created that label. So I'm just going to click the checkbox there, then click Apply. Then once I've selected all the questions that I want to include, I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go over to Tests. I'm going to click Create New Test, and I'm going to do Add from Library. Then over here, it's going to pop up with the item filters. So instead of going and searching by standard, I'm going to search by label. And then I'm going to see all the labels that I've created. So example for Wills, and I'm going to click Apply. And both of the questions that I labeled for this test are going to pop up, and I'm going to click Add item to test, click Add again, Add item to test. Now both of those questions are here. So then I can go to Publish Test, and I'm going to turn off text to speech, and then I'm going to make sure that the rest of these are off, and I also don't want a calculator, so I'm going to click Off on Calculator. And I don't know how to change those defaults, but those are the defaults that I've had to change every time. So once I have all that, I'm going to click Done. And it shows what's all included. I click OK. And then my test has been created. So when I go over to, to tests, I can go over here to libraries. It says tests I created, and I click apply. The one that I published today is right here, and I need to select it and click share. Then I need to type in Harrison's name so that he can see it, and I allow him to view it. And I can click edit or publish here too, but I have to select one or the other. So he just wants to be able to view. Then I click save. And then when I go to assign this test to students, I go back to the beginning. So I'm trying to figure out how to get back there. Oh, over here. I'm going to toggle back to this one. And I go to test administration. And then I click start a new proctoring session. And then what comes up here at the top is now my tests. And so I believe, I have to remember what number it was. View tests I've created. The test number is 994109. It ends in 09. So it's taking a second to load. And this is something I ran into before, is that it won't pop up right away, but tomorrow morning it'll pop up and I can select it here. And then it'll be the same as what we do when we've administered quarterly tests. And I would click start active session, and that code would pop up and I put it on the board for students. When I want to go back and see their scores on those tests, I go to the same spot of clicking reporting, but instead of clicking any of these, normally we click formative when we're trying to find the scores from their end of quarter benchmark tests. We're actually going to go down here to field authored, and we're going to select that and then click go to dashboard, and that'll show all of the scores that the students received on that benchmark test. One thing to look out for is that some of these are ELA as well. So it'll be whatever test the ELA students did as well as what we have created. And it'll have to have the same test number as before. So just something to look out for. I hope this was helpful, and feel free to share.